You are welcome at Light Academy Secondary School e-learning platform. My name is Teacher Sebuira Jimmy. Let me hope you are all okay. I'm going to take you through Senior 5 Mathematics, Paper 2. And our topic today is index numbers. Index numbers, by definition, these are statistical numbers which show the changes in the variable or group of variables with respect to time. And the terms we use to describe index numbers are base year and current year. Now I'll start with base year. This is the year or a period against which all other years or periods are computed. In other words, you can say the base year is normally given a standard statistical value or a measure over 100. But business people say a base year is a year where all the prices were a little bit stable. Now let me advance to current year. This is the year whereby we are to calculate the index. Types of index numbers. They include simple index numbers, aggregate index numbers, composite index numbers, or weighted index numbers. And finally, we have value index numbers. Now I'll start with simple index numbers. What do we mean by simple index numbers? These are the changes in each of the individual variables. And the most common simple index numbers include price index, quantity index, or you can call it quantum index, and finally wage index. Now we'll start by defining price indices, or you can say simple price indices. These are also before I give the definition, these are also referred to as price relatives, because you never know, one day, one time, you may find that word price relatives when you're having price index. And by definition, price indices are measures that the changes in the price of the items between the base year and the current year, and mathematically, price relative is equal to Pn over P0 times 100, where Pn is equal to the price of the item in the given or current year, and P0 is equal to price of the item in the base year. NB, when writing the final value of the price relative, we omit the percentage sign. Maybe let me add a voice on that. Why do we omit the percentage sign? Remember, by just talking about the price relative, that is a known fraction which is supposed to be represented in percentage. Maybe I can take you back to our O-level mathematics. You remember in O-level mathematics, we used to calculate the percentage profit. And if a question demand is to calculate the percentage profit, you don't need to, after getting a value, say 50, you don't need to put there percent. Just leave your value 50, because the question demand said percentage profit. The word percentage is already embedded in the question. You don't need to indicate it. That's why here we are stretching it that when writing the final value of the price relative, we omit the percentage sign. 2. If a price relative is greater than 100, then it will imply that the price of an item in the question increased by, we pick the price relative value, we subtract 100, and that answer we have to come up should be in percentage. 3. If the price relative value is less than 100, this will imply that the price of the item in the question fell by, you get 100 minus the price relative value. Remember, this price relative value is a value which is less than 100. Automatically, we shall come up with a positive value, and that positive value will be in percentage. Now, let us advance to simple quantity indices, of which we can call them simple quantum indices. By definition, these measure the changes in the quantities of the items between the base year and the current year. Mathematically, simple quantum index is equal to Qn over Q0 times 100, where Qn is equal to quantity of the item in the current year and Q0 is equal to quantity of the item in the base year. Simple wage indices, that's our third. By definition, these measure the changes in the wages of workers between the base year and the current year. Mathematically, simple wage index is equal to Wn over W0 times 100, where Wn is equal to wage of workers in the current year, W0 is equal to wage of the workers in the base year. Now let us see some of the examples. Example 1. In January 2000, the price of a loaf of bread was 800, and in January 2004, the price was 1,200. Taking 2000 as the base year, find the price relative of the bread. Now here, we need to first identify our two main things we need in this question. Since we want the price relative, and we know by definition in mathematics, price relative is equal to price of the item in the current year divided by price of the item in the base year. That means now here we need to first identify of the 2 years, the 2000 and the 2004, which one is the base year. But here the question is clearly stating it that 2000 is the base year. That means this 2000 is the base year. That means we need to take the 800 as our base year value. If the 200 is our base year value, that means the 1200 is our current year value. Now let us see our solution. Our solution, price relative, we said by definition is Pn over P0 times 100. Remember, our Pn, this is the price of the item in the current year, and our P0 is the price of the item in the base year. Remember, we've seen it from the other side. The price of the item in the current year is 1,200. Then divide by the price of the item in the base year, which is 800. Then multiply by 100. Now, what do we do from here? Now we get our calculators and then we feed in this information and then come up with the answer. Now here, when you feed in correctly, your answer will be 150. And remember, we said we are not supposed to indicate the percentage sign here, because by just mere asking for the price relative, the percentage is already embedded in the question. We don't need to indicate it here. Now, we note, this shows that the price of the loaf of bread increased by 150, this price relative, minus the 100, then which is equal to 50% between 200 and 204. Our second question. The wages of a certain group of workers in 2002 was 130,000, and in 2006 it was increased by 70,000. Now this is just an increment. That means to get the value at that point, we need to get 130,000 plus 70, which will be taking us to 200,000. Let me continue with the question. Using 2002 as the base year, calculate the workers' wage index in 2006. We've seen now here, the question wants us to calculate the wage index in 2006. But the question is saying 2002 should be our base year. Now the question should be, what was the wage in 2002 to get the wage price of the base? Now, since 2002, this 2002 is our base. Now, the wage price is 130,000. Now, if the wage price is 130,000, that implies the current wage will be this increment plus the original price. Now, that means it will be 130 plus 70, which will be giving us 200,000. Let us look at the solution. Our solution: wage index is equal to WN over W0 times 100. But now we've seen the price increasing. It is 130,000 plus 70,000, then divide by the wage base price, which is 130 times 100. When you sum these two values, you're going to come up with 200,000. Then divide by our denominator, which is 130,000 times 100. Then when you feed this information in the calculator very well, the outcome will be 153.85. We said here we don't need to indicate the percentage sign. What is the implication of this value? That